3/8 to an inch out of that one.
Oh, okay, I thought I seen 2 to 4,
Well,
that'd be good.
Here again, it's far
Up in
enough
the
out
area.
yet.
They said ice
Which way it
too,
goes,
right, on
yeah.
one of them, yeah.
St. Louis is supposed to get hit pretty hard, is what they were talking this morning.
Good
But
morning.
They don't know.
Morning.
We're ready. It's on you, Tabby.
Okay, good morning. The Muscatine County Board of Supervisors meeting for January 2nd, 2025 is called to order. The first item on the agenda is to elect a chair and a vice chair of the Board of Supervisors for 2025. I am accepting nominations for chair.
I would nominate Nathan Mather for chair and Danny Chick for vice chair. Can we do them both?
Okay,
I would second.
okay. Are there any other further nominations? The nominations for chair and vice chair are closed with the nomination of Nathan Mather for chair and Danny Chick for vice chair. Okay, we need to call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The meeting will now be turned over to Chairperson Nathan Mather.
Good, you sit there and just switch afterwards.
I don't have to stand up this way. Good morning, all. Okay. The very first item of business on the agenda for our year is to review the agenda.
Move to approve as presented?
Jeff has moved.
Second.
Scott seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Is Tabby ready?
Oh, you ready, Tybee? I'm sorry. Getting all carried away here.
It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Ready to roll?
Yes, thank you.
All right, item number 4 is discussion and possible action to approve several resolutions. Resolution A is Resolution 0102-2501, authorizing the county engineer to sign for and collect disaster relief funds. I can't remember, do you want me to read the resolutions in entirety?
No,
We
we
usually
could just do
don't.
the resolution
yeah.
number.
Okay.
I'll move the approval.
Jeff has moved.
Second.
Kurt seconded. These are roll call votes on the resolution, so all those in favor, actually, Scott.
Aye.
I vote aye, Jeff.
Aye.
Aye.
And Kurt.
Aye.
All ayes, the first resolution is approved. 4B is Resolution 0102-2502, authorizing the county engineer to execute certification of completion and final acceptance on farm-to-market construction projects.
Move the approval?
Jeff has moved.
Second.
Scott has seconded. This is a roll call vote. Jeff?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
And Kurt.
Aye.
All ayes, the resolution is approved. 4C is on Resolution 0102-2503, authorizing the county engineer to close secondary roads in emergency situations.
I'll move the approval.
Jeff has moved.
Second.
Kurt is seconded. This is a roll call vote. Jeff?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
All right, all ayes, that passes. 4D is Resolution 0102-2504, authorizing the county sheriff to close secondary roads in emergency situations.
Move to approve?
Jeff has moved.
Second.
Scott is seconded. This is a roll call vote. Jeff?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
And Kurt?
Aye.
All ayes, the resolution is approved. Resolution 0102-2505, construction evaluation resolution.
Move the approval?
Jeff has moved.
Second.
Kurt is seconded. This is a roll call vote rather, so Jeff?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
All ayes, it is approved. And last but not least is 4F, which is on Resolution 0102-2506, designating official newspapers in and for Muscatine County for 2025.
Move the approval?
Jeff moves.
Second.
Scott seconds. This is a roll call vote. Jeff?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
I vote aye. Danny?
Aye.
And Kurt?
Aye.
All right, we're through the resolutions. Thank you. Number 5 is discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the December 30th, 2024 regular meeting.
Move to approve.
Kurt's moved.
Second.
Scott is seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is correspondence. Scott, do you have anything?
I just had, a phone call, earlier in the week in regard to, a, resident that had a, issue on a, Class B road, and, I will speak with the county engineer on that issue. Seemed to be a little wash in it or something like that, that might need a little attention, but that's the only thing I had.
That's interesting. I doubt it was the same person, but a similar conversation. I just spoke to Brian about it. He said he'd take a look at it. Jeff, do you have anything?
I had nothing.
Dan?
I had nothing, Nathan.
Nothing's,
Committees?
nothing.
Nothing.
No committee reports.
Me neither.
And no committees feel.
All right. It's been such a long time since we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. Okay. Moving on to number 8, items with the administration office. We have discussion and possible action to set meeting times and dates for 2025. This is something we haven't changed, I think, since I've been on.
Yeah, so the history of this is at one point, the board had, cause you'll have typically one meeting extra, one every quarter, so we do one meeting a month or something at night. We quit doing that a number of years ago. The theory was that you'd get more people to attend meetings, made zero difference, so, I would just make a motion, we keep the schedule as set, Monday mornings at 9 AM.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, we have review of the possible 2025 board and chair or appointments to boards. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, so we don't take action on that today, it's just to review everything and.
Oh, okay, we don't?
No.
We just review it and then we'll take action on it at our next meeting.
There's a
Okay.
few that are ending. I noticed a couple ending on 12/31/24, but
So that's, just think
Yeah.
about like your, if you wanna continue them on, but as chair and vice chair, there are some committees that you'll pick up. And I know, Nathan, you'd have a conflict with one of your committees with the Bi-State Commission. So that would be one, if you wanna swap out or something, we could do something like that too.
sure. Let me think about that because it's one that, well, it does conflict, but it may be that I can flip flop back.
Well, if you conflict with the veterans, if you want, I could do Bi-State, you could just point, myself and I'd just do that one, so.
Yeah, I don't
It
have a problem with that.
doesn't make a problem, so we can
Yeah.
talk about that next week.
Yeah, no, but that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
cause it is, that one can be kind of it's what, 3 o'clock at 3:30 on the third Wednesday or something, so.
Yeah.
Unless you have a lot
And
of
then-
flexibility in your schedule, that
The
can be. a pain.
location flip-flops.
Yeah, between Bettendorf and,
Yeah, from
Rock Island there.
Illinois to Iowa every other year
Yeah.
is how it flip-flops, so
Yeah, I'd be open to that.
sometimes you don't know how far you gotta drive sometimes.
So, and Danny, as vice chair, you'd be going on that. It looks like
Yeah.
Which one's that?
Bi-State.
by
By
state.
state.
So the ones with the asterisks are the ones that
Yeah,
are
okay.
normally the chair, and the double asterisk are chair and vice chair, so. Okay, so we'll review those and see what we wanna do.
See what we wanna do next week.
Alrighty. Okay. Then we're up for item 8C, which is action to accept the December 2024 payroll claims.
I'll move the approval.
Get a motion?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Anybody have anything for the administrative office? Nada? Anybody need from the county need to give us any information?
This is just for public's information. The Iowa Geological Survey is providing free water chemistry tests for private wells within a few miles of the Cedar River in Muscatine County. The goal of this testing project is to use groundwater chemistry to assess the connectivity and distribution of different sand aquifers throughout a buried valley that roughly corresponds to the area within a couple miles of the modern Cedar River floodplain. It's just an FYI, so if people get a phone call or if they're interested, they can contact me and I can put them in contact with, it's a way of just kind of doing mapping to see how these shallow sand aquifers around the Cedar River connect. And just as a reminder, the Iowa Geological Survey is not a regulatory authority, so the results won't be used to enforce any action. And quite frankly, there is no water quality standards for private wells anyway, so nobody has anything to fear. It's just simply a project that they're undertaking to see how some of these shallow aquifers connect.
Would anybody that chose to participate, Eric, get feedback on the water quality of their well once it was sampled?
It's a little unclear. They haven't really told us what they're exactly, it's more of a water chemistry testing, I think, to identify that it's the same aquifer. So I don't know that they're gonna be looking at your typical contaminants like bacteria and nitrates. They may look at mineral levels, like, okay, this has gotta be the same aquifer that's over the mile this way because the iron or the calcium or this element is the same. But they may, but I'm sure they'll share the results with the well owners. But it's, as always, if there's a water quality concern, they can contact our office. We have plenty of grant money to do private well testing for contaminants of concern. But just an FYI, it is a legitimate project that the Geological Survey is undertaking, and so if they hear about it, or if they're interested, just contact my office, so.
Trying to figure out which milkshake you're drinking from, right?
Pretty much, yep.
All right. Katie?
I just wanted to report on the Deep Lakes Park project, and so we did sign a notice of award. It went to Triple B Construction for the campground project, and the board did approve the concrete price, not the asphalt. And so there was some discussion after it, after talking to Brian and talking to our engineers. But the total amount was $940,162.50. And so I don't think the board's changing their mind and going with the asphalt on that at this point, but we'll talk about it again at our next meeting. So I know Scott had reported some stuff on it because we thought maybe there's going to be a change, but there hasn't been, so.
Yeah, and it sounds like maybe the engineers are saying, based on the topography or necessarily the makeup of the soils there, that asphalt would probably be a better performing product over time than concrete on that.
Yeah, or just fine, and so, I don't know, I think a lot of our board members are still, like the idea of concrete, and so, and Brian even said, overall, he likes concrete. We were kinda hoping we'd be able to do a partial force main if we were able to do that, and so, it's just been an ongoing discussion, I guess, but I just wanted you to know where we were right now. So I think next week on Friday, the 10th, we're gonna have a meeting and hopefully sign the contracts and stuff, so.
And, I'll relay a couple of conversations that I had with other people, but, so one of the things in these, I know what the engineer specified, so, are we gonna give the contractor an opportunity for a cost share on any ideas they may have to reduce the contract cost? That's typically done in projects like these, because particularly when you have, certain items that may be specified by an engineer and there might be alternatives for that. So I don't know if that's something you've weighed or talked with that contractor. I'm sure he may have some ideas on ways to save money.
Okay, yeah, haven't had a lot of conversations with him about it, but we will probably,
Do we have a clause like that in our contracts? That if they bring us anything that we would share the cost of, or the savings?
I think we've had a couple discussions about that, because there was with the well, for sure, I know, in discussions with the well, and we haven't really had too many discussions about changes on this project yet, but it could be.
Yeah, I know that's, the bidding process, that's the challenge I always have with it, is because you put a bid out for everybody, and you need to do that so it's apples to apples and everything's fair. But after that, if you have, the successful contractor, if they have ideas of ways to implement the project at a better cost, I think those are things you should always weigh and have a discussion. Engineers don't know everything, and so sometimes it's good to have the contractors weigh in as well. And I know you can't do that prior to the award, that's the problem.
Bolton and Nate preparing the contract
Yes,
to be signed,
Yep.
so, yeah, I mean, most likely it would include like a change order procedure in there, and so if nothing else, you could always entertain, if there's a method where the contractor identifies there might be some cost savings, they could propose that change. I would highly recommend that it's in the contract, that everything has to be approved by your design engineer, and
Yeah,
any alternate method or
100%.
material.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it could be worked through a change order if there's something like that, both credit or expense,
Yeah.
One question I had, is the design engineer gonna be providing the inspection and oversight of the road and road base prep, that's not something that me and my staff are super experienced in when it comes to sub-base prep and especially in challenging, or who's providing the oversight of.
Yeah, that's a good question. They have so many meetings that they're like, that we've scheduled in for them to attend, to show up and come. And so some of them will be inspections and stuff, and so we can have them, that be one of their times that they come, and then we might wanna ask Brian to come down and look at it too as it's going, but they'll have to provide, to make sure that they have the right mix of concrete and all that. They'll have to turn in all that paperwork,
Yeah,
so.
we don't have the equipment to do slope testing or density testing like, like road departments do.
Yeah, that might be a
Right.
conversation with Brian to see if, cause again, if we're gonna make this investment in that park, we wanna make sure it's done well and done right.
Right.
Is that bid with Triple B just for the concrete, is that?
No, this is the whole
That's the whole
project, yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
whole project,
yeah.
the well, the septic system?
It was not the well.
No,
The well
That's-
was bidded separately,
That's
so,
separate?
yeah,
The
that
septic-
Lada well and
The septic
pump.
system's involved in this one?
This is the septic system, yep. The well was separate, and then the engineering fees are separate, but everything else is part of this. So this will be running all of the lines, this includes the electricity, this includes the septic, this includes the shower house, and, getting the water, Lada's putting in the pump, but this includes getting the water from the pump to the shower house, and then he'll be involved in that process a little bit too, so.
Is there like a host building to check in and stuff that's part of that too, or
No, there'll be a campground host, but they'll bring their own camper.
there's no building like when you go in that they'll have a little shack there or nothing like that?
Firewood shed. We'll build that later though.
but Triple B, the bid was for concrete and or asphalt, so.
And Triple B was the successful bidder on
Right.
both, yeah.
Both,
And
correct.
I think the board needs to look at the recommendations of the roadways and so on from Bolton and Mink and what their position was on the best product to use on these roadways. I think they need to review that before this goes a lot farther.
I'm assuming putting concrete or asphalt on sand requires a pretty good base. I mean, I would think there'd be more settling on sand than there would.
The point that they made on that is because of the flexibility. There's more flex in sand than obviously there would be in a more solid type of earth underneath there, I'll call it, and my understanding is from reading it that the asphalt would stand up better under the flexing of the sand and the movement of that down there, and I can see that. So I think they really need to review that and take the advice of the professional people that have been hired to design these operations.
Wasn't that the cheaper option?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't that the cheaper option?
It was a less
It was
cost.
cheaper, yeah.
Yes, it was a less cost.
It ends up being, because there was a little bit of confusion in the bid process, because the bid alternate included concrete and asphalt. You had to subtract numbers 27 and 28, and so, it ends up being about 99,000 more, so.
Concrete's 99,000 more? And you're saying the board is recommending concrete at this time?
Correct.
And that's based on Brian's,
That's, yeah, that was,
That's just based
that
on
was
their
before.
own-
That was based on their, opinion, yes.
So I think they just need to have again, Bolton and Mink lead that discussion and why and what you might do, so they make a good an informed decision, how's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever that might be.
All right.
Okay, perfect, thank you, Katie.
Anybody else? All right, folks, are there any comments from the public? Seeing no public, we are adjourned.